Before you do anything else today, stop. Not forever, just long enough to notice what you're about to do next. Because I know what you were about to do. You were about to reach for something small, something easy, something that feels like a reset, a tap, a scroll, quick check. And you were going to tell yourself the same sentence you always use, the one that sounds reasonable and ruins the day anyway. Just for a minute, then I'll start. Here's the problem. That minute is never a minute. So let's make this concrete right now so you can't hide in vague motivation. There is a project you keep circling, not the whole life change version, the real one, the file you haven't opened, the page that stays blank, the draft that's half started and quietly embarrassing, the thing you care about enough that it scares you. You don't procrastinate on things you don't care about. You procrastinate on the things that can change how you see yourself. So when you're about to open that project, you feel something. It's quick, almost invisible, and then you move away from it. And you call that moving away a break, or a reset, or getting in the right headspace. But if you're honest, it's not a break. It's a trade. You trade a future you want for a feeling you don't want to touch right now. And the trade works. That's why you keep taking it. A harmless little detour steals the afternoon and then leaves you with that quiet, acidic thought at night. I did it again. And the worst part is you don't even feel shocked anymore. You feel familiar with it, like procrastination has become a room in your house. You don't love it, but you know where everything is. You know the chair you sit in. You know the light in that room. You know the exact lie that lives there. I'll start when I feel ready. Let's be honest. You don't feel ready. Not for the project. Not for the email you need to send about it. Not for the meeting you keep putting off. Not for the small step that would make it real. And it's not because you're lazy. I'm going to say something that might irritate you because it's too simple. Procrastination is not laziness. It's protection. You're not avoiding the work. You're avoiding what the work makes you feel. That's why you can be lazy about the one thing that matters most, and then somehow become productive at literally anything else. You can deep clean your kitchen like you're training for an event. You can reorganize your desk as if the perfect layout is the missing ingredient. You can watch other people do the thing, take notes on how they do it, save the videos, buy the tool, rename the folder, create a beautiful plan. And none of it is the project. None of it risks being judged. None of it risks being real. The safe motion. It's movement that doesn't count. That's not laziness. That's nervous system management. Your brain is doing what brains do. It's trying to keep you safe from discomfort. The problem is your brain is using a strategy that worked when discomfort meant danger, but now discomfort usually just means growth. And growth feels like threat because it contains uncertainty, contains judgment. It contains the possibility of failing publicly, or failing privately, or worse, succeeding and then being expected to do it again. So you postpone. You call it later, and later starts to feel like a place you live. Here's the part nobody says out loud. Procrastination can be comforting. It gives you a temporary identity. You get to be the person who is about to, the person who is preparing, the person with potential, the person who could, if they really tried. Potential is warm. Action is cold at first. Action is where reality is, and reality is where you can't hide. If you're still listening, I want to make you a promise, but not the kind of promise that turns into a fantasy. If you stay with me for a few more minutes, you're going to understand exactly what you're doing in that split second before you run, and you'll have a way to start your project that doesn't require you to become a new person overnight. Not a life overhaul, a method, something you can do today, because the real battle isn't the work. The real battle is the moment right before the work. There's a half second that happens before you procrastinate. Your attention touches the project and your body reacts. A tightening in your chest, a drop in your stomach, a fog in your head, a sudden urge to stand up, to get water, to check something, to fix something, to do literally anything except the thing. That half second matters more than the hours you lose afterward. The hours are just the consequence. That half second is your brain predicting pain. And the pain isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's boredom. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's the fear of doing it wrong. Sometimes it's the shame of not being where you thought you'd be by now. Sometimes it's that weird dread you can't even name. You just know you don't want to sit with it. And your brain offers you a deal. It says, we can make that feeling go away right now. All you have to do is anything else. And you take the deal because it works. It really works. You feel better immediately. Your chest loosens. Your mind brightens. You get a tiny hit of relief. Relief is addictive, not because it's fun, because it's quiet. That's the loop. Avoidance reduces discomfort. The brain learns avoidance is effective. The next time discomfort shows up, your brain reaches for the same lever. This is why willpower feels like it disappears. You're not battling a task. You're battling a reward system that already proved itself. So if you've been treating procrastination like a character flaw, you've been fighting the wrong enemy. The enemy isn't you. It's the misunderstanding. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, but you need this. If you keep procrastinating on the same category of thing, it's not random. It's not a personal defect. It's a pattern of meaning. If you procrastinate on things that put you in front of evaluation, you might be avoiding judgment. If you procrastinate on things that require focus, you might be avoiding stillness. If you procrastinate on things that move your life forward, you might be avoiding the responsibility of becoming the person who lives that life. Because then you can't say, one day. You have to say, this is my day, and that changes what you can blame. Sometimes procrastination is grief. You're grieving the version of yourself who thought it would be easier. You're grieving time. You're grieving how hard it is to be consistent. So you hover around the edge of your life, half in, half out, because fully stepping in would force you to accept what it costs. Sometimes procrastination is anger, a quiet rebellion. I don't want to have to do this to be okay. I don't want to live like a machine. I don't want to be measured. So you delay, you resist, you push back, and then you punish yourself for the resistance, and punishment makes you want to escape again. Sometimes procrastination is perfectionism wearing a clean shirt. You tell yourself you care about quality, but what you really care about is not feeling imperfect. So you wait until you can do it flawlessly, which means you wait forever. Perfectionism doesn't want you to succeed. It wants you to never be judged. Now let's talk about your project again, because this is where people drift into theory and feel smart and still don't start. Your project is not asking you for perfection. It's asking you for contact. And contact is a skill. It's not a personality trait. There's an old Japanese idea I come back to when my mind starts bargaining. Kaizen, small improvement, tiny steps, not the dramatic overhaul, not the new you, just a little forward motion that's too small for your fear to grab. Your fear can handle 2 minutes. Your fear can handle opening the file. Your fear can handle writing one bad sentence, or sketching one ugly shape, or building the first rough piece. What your fear can't handle is you demanding a full transformation in one day, because then the project becomes your identity. Then it feels like your whole life is on trial. And that's what most people do. They sit down and try to build the entire future in one sitting. They try to fix everything at once. They try to become disciplined in an afternoon. Then when they can't, they conclude something is wrong with them. Nothing is wrong with you. Your approach is wrong. Your nervous system doesn't trust your promises because you keep making them dramatic and then breaking them. Over and over. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up early. Tomorrow I'm going to focus. Tomorrow I'm going to change my life. Tomorrow comes and you don't. So your brain starts treating your motivation like noise. It's learned that your big declarations don't mean action. They mean a mood. So stop making declarations. Make contact. Contact means you touch the project without asking it to rescue your self-esteem. You touch it like it's just a thing, a real thing in the real world, not a symbol of your worth. There's another Japanese concept that gets turned into posters and diagrams. Ikigai, the reason to get up. People overcomplicate it, but the part that matters is simple. Meaning is not found by thinking. It's built by doing. You don't sit and wait until you feel a reason. You do one meaningful action, and the reason strengthens. Procrastination tells you, I don't feel like it, and you answer, I don't need to feel like it to start. But listen carefully. That doesn't mean you bully yourself. It doesn't mean you become harsh and cold. Harshness is just another avoidance tactic. It creates more pain, and your brain will flee from pain. If you try to beat procrastination with shame, you will lose. Shame is fuel for hiding. You beat procrastination with clarity and gentleness combined. Calm firmness, like you would treat someone you actually care about. Right now, if you're honest, you've been speaking to yourself like an enemy. You call yourself names in your head. You collect evidence that you're unreliable. You replay the same failures. And then you act surprised when your mind doesn't want to sit down and face a hard task. Who would? So let's change the conversation in a way that doesn't sound like a fake affirmation. Try this instead. I see what I'm doing. Not I'm terrible. Not I'm broken. Just I see what I'm doing. Then ask, what am I feeling right before I run? That question is like turning on a light. Procrastination hates light. It thrives in vague discomfort, in unnamed dread. Name the feeling: bored, overwhelmed, exposed, uncertain, tired, resentful. When you name it, you stop being it. You become the one observing it. And then you do something small that proves you're not trapped. Here's the unsexy truth from neuroscience. Motivation often follows action, not the other way around. Your brain isn't waiting to reward you with motivation so you can begin. It's waiting for proof that beginning is safe, that you can approach discomfort and survive it. So you give it proof, small proof. There's a method in behavioral science that sounds almost too basic. Implementation intentions. It means you decide in advance what you'll do when resistance shows up. Not if it shows up. When I feel the urge to check my phone, I will put it face down and open the project file. When I feel the fog, I will set a timer for 5 minutes and start messy. When I hear the voice saying, not now, I will do the first physical step, not mental, physical, because procrastination is not happening in your ideas. It's happening in your body. Your body is avoiding a sensation. So work with the body. Stand up, drink water, sit back down, put your hands on the keyboard, put the sketchbook on the table, open the file, name the draft V1, make one ugly start, one real move. In some Zen teachings, there's a focus on the next breath, the next step, the next bowl to wash. Not as a way to escape life, but as a way to return to it. When your mind tries to leap into the entire future and measure your worth against it, you pull it back to the one thing you can actually do. The next right action. Not the perfect action. Not the action that guarantees success. Just the next right one. Now, let me tell you what procrastination does to time, because this is where it gets quietly tragic. Procrastination doesn't just steal hours. It stains them. You can be relaxing while procrastinating and still not resting. Because in the background, there's a hum, a guilt, tension. You're not enjoying the video, you're using it. You're not scrolling because you want to, you're scrolling because you're running. So you end up with the worst deal. You don't get the work done and you don't get real rest. You get a kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. That tiredness isn't from effort. It's from friction. The constant stop-start inside your head. The constant negotiating with yourself. The constant low-grade disappointment. You deserve better than that. And I don't mean you deserve a life where everything is easy. I mean you deserve a life where you can trust yourself. Where when you say you'll do something, you become someone who begins. Not perfectly, not always, but enough that your own words start to feel solid. So here's a moment to be very specific. Think of your project, not the whole project. The first honest step. The one you've been dodging because it's small and humiliating and real. Maybe it's opening the file. Maybe it's writing the first paragraph. Maybe it's outlining 3 bullet points on paper, but not as planning theater. As contact. Maybe it's sending the message that starts the collaboration. Now notice what your mind does as soon as you look at it. Tries to make it vague. Tries to give you a reason. Tries to bargain. Tries to offer you a detour that looks responsible. That urge is not you. That urge is an old strategy, and you can thank it without obeying it. You can literally say, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to protect me from discomfort. Then you choose discomfort on purpose in a small dose. This is how you rebuild courage. Not with speeches, with reps. There's a concept in exposure therapy. You approach what you fear in tolerable steps. You don't throw yourself into the deep end and call it discipline. You wade in. You let your body learn that the water is cold, yes, but you can breathe. You can stay. That's what you're doing with your project. You're building tolerance for the feelings you've been avoiding. Uncertainty, imperfection, the feeling of not knowing what you're doing yet. That yet matters, because procrastination tries to freeze your identity. It tries to make today's struggle your permanent label. But you are not permanently anything. You are practicing, and practice looks messy. Practice looks like starting, stopping, starting again. Practice looks like 10 minutes, then another 10. Practice looks like a bad draft that becomes a good draft later. Practice looks like sending something that isn't perfect and surviving the fact that it wasn't perfect. If you're waiting to feel like a disciplined person before you act, you will wait forever. Discipline is not a personality trait you unlock. It's a relationship you build with discomfort. And relationships are built through consistent contact, not grand gestures. I want you to imagine something, not a fantasy version of your life. Something simpler. Imagine it's tonight. You're brushing your teeth. You're about to sleep. And you remember today. In one version, you did what you always do. You avoided, you escaped, you promised yourself tomorrow. And you feel that familiar heaviness. Not devastation, just dull regret. The sense that you're watching your own life from the outside. In the other version, you did something small, not heroic, not dramatic. You opened the project file. You did 15 minutes. You wrote the first ugly paragraph. You sketched the rough outline. You sent the message. You moved the needle. And when you brush your teeth in that version, you feel different. Not euphoric, clean, quiet, like you're back in integrity with yourself. That feeling is available to you, not after you finish everything, after you begin. Procrastination will try to argue with that. It will say, 15 minutes won't matter. That's the lie. 15 minutes matters because it changes who's in charge. It's not about output. It's about the identity shift. The moment you prove, I can start even when I don't want to. That is the core skill. Everything else is built on that. So let's make this even more human. There will be days you lose. There will be days you avoid and you don't catch it in time. And if you respond to that with self-hatred, you will make the pattern stronger. You'll teach your brain that trying leads to pain, and it will protect you by avoiding more. Instead, respond like this. Okay, that happened. What's the next small, honest action now? Not later, now. And if you drift again in 10 minutes, that's not failure. That's data. Come back once. That one return counts more than a perfect plan you never touch. Now is always smaller than later. Later is a whole imaginary universe your brain can fill with pressure. Now is just one step. If you've been procrastinating for years, you might secretly believe you can't change, that you're wired this way, that you missed the window. That's another lie. Brains change, habits change, identities change, but not all at once, and not through self-criticism. They change through repeated proof. And here's the weird part. When you start acting, even in small ways, you don't just get tasks done. You start seeing yourself differently. Your future stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like a place you can actually arrive. You start trusting your word again. And trust is the opposite of procrastination, because procrastination is a fracture. It's you splitting into two people, the person who promises and the person who disappears, the person who knows and the person who avoids. It's exhausting living split like that. The goal isn't to become some flawless machine. The goal is to become whole. So, right after this, don't try to fix your whole life. Don't make a grand plan. Don't write a dramatic manifesto. Do the smallest real thing that your project requires. Open it, touch it, start it badly. And if your mind says, this is pointless, let it talk. You don't have to fight the thought. You just have to keep your hands moving while it complains. Because eventually something shifts. The project becomes less symbolic. less scary. It becomes what it always was. Work, life, a normal human thing. And you realize the monster was mostly fog. If you want, keep a simple promise to yourself for the next few days. Not a big one, a small one you can actually keep. I will begin for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is not a trick. It's a doorway, and once you're through the doorway, you're in a different room. A room where time starts moving again. A room where you can breathe without that background hum. A room where you might still feel fear, but you're not ruled by it. Before you go, I want to make this feel real between us. If this hit you, stay close. The pause time is built for moments like this, when you're about to drift and you decide to come back to yourself. Subscribe, not as a someday, but as a small vote for the person who starts. And if you can, leave a comment. Tell me what you're procrastinating on. If you don't want to explain, comment one word, the project. Or tell me the line you needed to hear today. I go through them, and they're a way of turning this from a private struggle into an honest beginning.